Here is my 36-inch Emerson Heat or Emerson Blender fan. I think the information is hidden underneath the canopy. Yeah, I don't see it. At the old location, I had a piece of paper with all the information copied down onto it. I really need to get back over there and grab that, among a bunch of other things that are overstaying their welcome. Anyways, I recently shown a video. It was an archives video which featured this ceiling fan, and there was at least one person that said something along the lines of, "Oh, I didn't know that you had that fan for so long." So I figured I'll do another video, and you have to excuse if my speech is kind of slurred or discombobulated. I have a bad head cold and my head is just really cloudy today. So I want to do a remake video with the better quality camera here, and with it here at the new location, and we'll retell the story behind it, because this was actually the very first ceiling fan that I had in my possession, and we'll get to that in a minute. The other portion of this video is kind of a sample for this location for filming, because the reason why I was going to set up the ceiling fan testing area over there is because I didn't think I'd be able to get the camera far back enough to get the whole fan in view with it over here. But as you can see, that's obviously not the case at all, and in fact the whole thing is in view just fine. And this is only on linear mode. I could zoom it out quite a bit more. I have it on linear mode so that there's no fisheye, because some people get all upset about that. So to me, on the camera preview, it looks like it's pretty well exposed. So it's working off of just these lights here, these 5 Circuline fluorescent lights, which I have over the bench. And this isn't bad lighting. So this is a 4-blade model. It's missing the switch cap. I made this one out of, I think, top of a jar of almonds or something. The blades are severely yellowed, as is the canopy. But it's all there, and it all still works. So, this was the first ceiling fan I got into my possession. It's not technically the first ceiling fan I honestly purchased, because I didn't have any money at the time. But when we moved to the new location, this is summer, very late 2000s, there was always this big to-do about ceiling fans. Like, my mother never wanted to have big ceiling fans, brass ceiling fans, wood ceiling, nothing. It was tiny white fans, nothing else. And so at the old house, first house, I had the first fan I had in the bedroom was one of those tricolor, or maybe there was more than 3 colors, I don't know, one of those multicolor hugger fans from Walmart. And then after that, because it was getting really noisy and so forth, I wanted to get a new one that was better quality, and the best I could get at the time was the Hampton Bay Minuet 2, which, relatively speaking, was a very good quality fan. It was much quieter, probably about the same amount of power. Those little huggers they move some air, but much better quality fan. So I was happy about that. But it was still kind of a joke, because the bedrooms at that old house were pretty big. I want to say that the bedroom was 12 by 12, 14 by 14 even. And so it didn't move a lot of air around the room, needless to say. And so when we moved, actually at some point between then and we moved, it got replaced with a Hawkins fan, which was a 44-inch model. Seriously? It was a 44-inch model, and so it worked a little better, but it also wasn't the greatest. And so, regardless, we didn't take any of the fans when we moved out of that house. So, I had to pick out a new ceiling fan for my bedroom at the new house because it didn't come with any of these ceiling fans. And it was the same debacle again with it's got to be a small white fan. And so after much deliberation, I finally settled on the white Beacon Hill from Hunter. What I really wanted was the brass, the polished brass one, which I recently acquired. That was the one I really wanted. But I ended up with the white one. And there's something I don't quite remember about the whole debacle, but for some reason, my grandmother, who also hates ceiling fans, she doesn't have any ceiling fans in her and my grandfather's house. My grandmother wanted to get... Hold on, I gotta adjust the tripod. Keep in mind this is a free video. It's offered to you at no charge. I gotta get that out of the way. So my grandmother, for whatever reason, wanted to get me a ceiling fan with cane blades, because that was something I really liked and could never have. So she wanted to get it for me to install into the room I had downstairs in the basement, which would later become the studio room. And that, for whatever reason, was a big to-do. It was not wanted to have a ceiling fan downstairs and all this, that, and the other. I don't know why. To this day, I don't really know what the reasoning of that was, but that was what my parents said. No ceiling fan downstairs, blah, blah, blah. And so my grandmother just kind of bought it anyways. I don't know. We had gone on the stupid e-ripoff, and there was a listing of the 42-inch Heritage Lancaster ceiling fan and a 52-inch Hunter something Breeze. It was for those two fans, and she had my grandfather buy this listing, and then somehow it came to be that I could install one of those fans in the basement, and I could have the other one, but it couldn't have any power to it. So the order was placed, and this is back then, the things didn't ship that fast. The shipping was slow 15 years ago. So as the stuff is shipping and coming in, I went to a tag sale with my grandparents, which is not something we did often at all. And at that tag sale was this fan. It was in a box, which I still have. It was an open top box of something. I can't remember what the product was. It's at the old location. If I saw it, I'd recognize it in an instant. It was in a box with a bunch of old lamp sockets and parts and so forth. The whole thing was $2. And so I convinced them to buy it. And then there was this whole thing, oh, now there's 3 ceiling fans. There's not supposed to be any ceiling fans, but now there's 3 ceiling fans. And I don't know, I guess it just kind of went under the bridge eventually, and all 3 of them got hung down there. Only one had power, but they were all hanging there. But so this was the first fan I got in my possession, and it was the first ceiling fan in my collection. And what a great model to start the collection with. A classic, an icon of quality and performance by a great brand. So that's why when I came here, this was to be the first fan that would be installed in this studio, kind of symbolic of, and in what's the word, not in honor of, but kind of in reference to the old studio. Same fan. I have had this same one. It's the same one all these years. So that's the story behind this one. I have a lot of memories of this fan. It's a really neat fan, and I thought when I first got it that it was like super old, like, you know, a century old or something, but I didn't know any better at the time. But this, I guess it's an 80s model, I believe, 1983. I think somebody said at some point. That could be totally wrong. But I have some old videos and some old pictures of when I first had it put up. It'll be a bizarre sight because there was no other ceiling fans in the room yet. But there it was. So it's on low right now. It still works great. It's very quiet, very powerful. Go up to high. Bearings are perfectly quiet still. Capacitor is good. It's in pretty decent balance. I really like this fan. I'm going to be taking it down soon because I want to do some dual installs down here. But I'm struggling to take it down because I just enjoy it so much every time I come down here. And it brings back all the good memories of when I first found it and all the good times we had under it at the old studio in the old location. Should really put this upstairs somewhere at some point. Maybe in the computer room or something. It's very powerful for a little 36-inch. Good steady stream of air. It is dark over here. I gotta get some kind of lighting on the other side of the room. Once I get that lamp wired up, that will give me some light over there. But then I gotta figure out something over here. I'm gonna put those these can lights over here to illuminate the displays, but I'm not sure if that will provide any light to the ceiling. I don't think so that it will, so I still have to figure that out. So that's it. Here it is in the studio. It looks great in here. It's not quite period correct for these lights. I think these lights are maybe even 2 decades older. But it just looks like something that should be in a garage or a shop or some kind of commercial area. So there you have it, the 36-inch Emerson Heat fan. The beginning of my ceiling fan collecting days, and an icon of the old studio location.